on live. It's NBA rundown time. I'm a little under the weather. My voice sounds terrible. Tyler, you might have to carry this a little more today. But if you guys can't tell, I'm excited because we have Meg here joining us, and I don't want you guys to be fooled because she's very humble, right? So she's not going to tell you how good she really is. So I'll go ahead and do it. Meg is sharp. Make sure you're catching all her content. She's crushing the XFL right now. But today, she's going to join us to break down the NBA. Meg, you had quite the trip, right? You've been going all around the world.
I did.
You're back at home. How's everything been?
I did. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for that intro, Fred. That helped pump my tires, get me a little confidence for tonight. So I appreciate that. But no, first of all, so great to meet both of you. I had a blast. It was a one-day kind of layover for me in Cincinnati, Kentucky at the RPS party. So it was great to meet everybody and great to meet the two of you. I loved it. But then I went to Vegas for an annual kind of degenerate trip with friends, and I am still recovering from that for sure. But, you know, a lot of good food, good drinks, a lot of sportsbook action, some live music. It was a good mix of everything, but had a blast. And I'm back home in Baltimore and trying to recover, and now trying to get back in the DFS grind here because no DFS out there in Vegas. So that's the only thing that was the only bummer out there.
Yeah, I always forget whenever I drive to Reno and I'll like go to make a lineup and I'm like, oh, man.
That's the only bummer about Las Vegas. Other than that,
was my suggestion for the location of the next party, and
I would love that. I would love that.
Captain told me find a new place because we can't play DFS there. I said that is a very good point.
I mean, it would be the perfect place for an RPS party, but that would be the big downside, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my suggestion is we need to have them more than once a year. I mean, these things should be quarterly or something. It was way too much fun.
Right.
We should do them for all the big sporting events: Super Bowl, March Madness, NBA Finals.
And we can do them in different parts of the country, so I don't have to fly on two planes.
So you don't have like a 6-hour flight. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I knew I was going to get sick.
Going to the wrong terminals.
Yeah, sharing air with all.
Meg, how would you feel if you were sitting on a plane? There's you, there's your friend, and there's a guy in the third seat, and you two are just talking about stuff that's going on, like back home, and like guys and all that. And you look at the guy next to you in the row, and he's reading a book. Mind you, the whole plane ride, he's never flipped the page in the book. He's read the same page the entire time.
I mean, I just can't help not pay attention. I think I'd be a good spy, right? I mean,
okay, I get what you're saying.
I couldn't stop listening. I mean, they had a lot of interesting stuff going on.
I'm so unobservant. I probably would have been so in my conversation, I wouldn't notice that the man was just listening to my conversation the whole entire time. But that's pretty funny, Fred. But Fred, I'm proud of you because you said it was like since 2006 or something that you had flown. So that was a long flight.
I'm definitely less afraid of airplanes now, but I knew I was going to get sick. It's just terrible.
Yeah, well, like you said, 2 planes, long flight, whatever. But it was worth it because it was.
And I need to check the layover time. Too.
Yes,
I mean 3 hours in Denver was way too much.
Yeah, it took you longer to fly home that day, Spread. Like when you finally text me and said you were home. I could have drove back home, made a sandwich,
and gone back to the party,
and then drove back to the party.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I don't need to imagine it, Nades. I am. I mean, come on. And for good reason. I got sick. Tyler, let's talk about the NBA last night. Wasn't the best night for me. Let's talk about all the controversy, though. We'll start with the Mavericks and the Warriors. What did you think about what happened in that game, and particularly that call in the third quarter where they just got the free basket?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it basically decided the game. I mean, we went to overtime if it wasn't for the free basket. Did you see they tried to appeal that right after the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
They put out a motion of appeal or something to get that out of there. So I don't know how all that's going to work, but it tilted me in the end. Spread. Luka gets to the rim. We're on a +3. We're down 1 or we're down 3. It's like just lay the layup in.
Yeah.
Get it to 1, and we'll be able to get a push here. He misses the layup.
Yep.
They get out of the spread, and Reggie Bullock has to come in and save the day with the 3 at the buzzer to get us the cover there. So, I mean, Dallas, I don't know what Luka's problem is at the end of games. That's the second time we've seen him do it. He gets to the cup, goes for a layup, and it's almost like he's hunting that foul, and he just flat out misses.
He was foul hunting.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Second time.
He also doesn't distribute the ball enough early in the game, so he's kind of gassed by the end of the game, right?
Yep.
I mean, the guy's not Kurt Jones, right? He's not just a workout monster, right? Meg, did you see the Mavericks and the Warriors, and what were your takeaways?
I did. I watched most of that game. Yeah, that one, obviously, the call was brutal. But I will say I'm getting less and less tolerant with these like crybaby foul hunters. You know, I don't know. Again, maybe this week I'm just like lacking, you know, trying to catch up on sleep and I'm more irritable. But, you know, watching Luka and I've never liked Draymond, but and, you know, I know LeBron does it. Like that just frustrates the hell out of me watching that. I was getting more and more annoyed as the game went on. Like there was one point in he was down and he was still crying about a call as a play was going on. And
he does that a lot. LeBron does that a lot too.
Yeah, LeBron and Luka right now are the two that are driving me the most nuts watching it. But it's like, yeah. So I was getting more and more irritable as the game went on with, his foul hunting crybaby stuff. But
yeah, so
maybe we were on
the Mavericks. I shouldn't have gone against one of my many favorite teams, Tyler.
What do you mean we covered? I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I know, but still. Let's talk about the Knicks. Were you disappointed with that game? I was more disappointed that I absolutely flubbed the undercall. Thing went over by like 40 points.
Yeah.
Tyler messages me, will you promise not to take any more stupid unders? And I said, I'll promise, but I'll break the promise in 2 days. What were your thoughts there? Jimmy Butler continues to get better. That was my main takeaway. It just feels like he just doesn't care about the regular season at all. And now he's like using this.
He's
time
starting to
really
ramp it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Miami did look pretty good in that game. Like, what was it? 4 of their 5 starters all hit double digits in that game.
Yeah.
The Knicks just couldn't defend anything. So that's what pushed the game over. And then the fourth quarter, the Knicks were able to keep it close for so long. And then Miami went on a run. They just couldn't catch back up, and they lost the game by 7. So holding that +2 didn't feel too good at the end of the day, but they're back on the slate today. We'll see if we can get it back on them.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where we land there. Meg, did you see any of the other games last night? Did you have eyes on that one? I'm like a league pass junkie, so I had most of them on.
I only watched the ESPN games. So
okay, well, let's go to the second one then.
Yeah, and I saw the end of that, the second half of that one. Yeah.
What did I say on the show yesterday, Tyler? Why do the Lakers annoy me? They get so many freaking calls.
It was Scott Foster against CP3 spread.
Yeah, but you don't think that they plan that on purpose? Oh, well, I mean, it's like the NBA assigns these referees. They knew that was just terrible. I don't think it mattered, though. I think the Lakers would have won regardless. I just thought it made the game uglier and created this conversation, this narrative that we didn't need to have. Because as much as I want to be a Lakers hater, you have to admit that they're playing better basketball. Anthony Davis is looking really good. Austin Reeves is becoming, I don't know, about a star in his own right? But he's making a name for himself, playing really well. I felt like the controversy kind of detracted from what was a good performance from the team. And I felt that Phoenix is really missing those forwards right now, right? Compared to the team that won over 60 games last year, right? They're missing Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and Cam Johnson. And I felt that lack of depth on the wings was evident. I see Devin Booker doing his best to try and keep up, but it's reminding me of the Suns teams when Booker was scoring over 25 points and they were in the lottery, right? So I know that KD can fix a lot of those things, but I mean, I don't know. Of course, go ahead and complain about the rest, but other takeaways from that game. I mean, I thought that it's atrocious. I don't think Scott Foster should be employed by the NBA anymore. I think it's a complete joke what he's doing out there. But we'll talk about some basketball too.
I hear a lot of complaining, Meg. What do you hear?
A little complaining, but I get it. He does not like the Lakers, and I get it. So I get it, Shred.
What do you mean? That these are valid complaints? I'm not the only one that noticed that they shot like 40 free throws compared to 20.
Well, that's true. That's true. I'll agree with that too. So.
All right, what else do you have, Tyler, besides before more shots at me? I'm under the weather.
I just hear you complaining over there about the Lakers winning games. That's all I hear.
I don't like it. It's not. Let's do something positive. Joey Works' first MLB division preview will be today.
Yep.
At 1 p.m.
Joey Work Winners back in effect. Gotta watch that show.
Yeah, if you want the winners there. But Tyler, talk to me about the basketball and not about my breakdown.
What, the Lakers game?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't catch much of it because I was at work, and I finally decided to do some work once that game came on.
Really interesting. All right.
Well, no, because in the end spread, we had Scott Foster. Was there anything ever to be worried about with that Lakers bet?
No, it was the easiest RPD. It was funny when we were doing the playbook, Meg. I wouldn't even put it in there. Tyler was like, "I'll go ahead." We got to the last
game.
He'll type it.
Yeah, you just take your hands off the keyboard. I'll get this one.
Yeah, it was tough.
He wasn't going to type it.
Right? I mean, it was like, if a drug dealer gives you money, you're just like, man, this isn't the best money to take, but
I love it.
Meg, what did you think of that game last night?
Yeah, kind of the same things that obviously, Phoenix is missing those other pieces. Can't wait to see when Durant comes back. No, but I mean, as you said, you can't take away from what Anthony Davis is doing and Austin Reeves. I mean, wow. I mean, he had his first double-double. Looked really, I mean, he himself got himself to the foul line a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was a fun game to watch. I had a little 3-point sweat that I was sweating out. So that's why I kind of stuck with it and was watching till the end. But that didn't quite get there for me. But yeah, I mean, definitely interested to see Phoenix once Durant returns.
Yeah, because he's that one player that can make up for the loss of 3 solid wins.
Absolutely.
Because,
yes.
Arguably a top 10 guy of all time. I'd say, inarguably a top 20 player of all time. So
sure. Yeah, I started researching. I started researching NBA playoff best ball, by the way. And I saw that I haven't done one yet, but I started researching it. And, I saw like you're, as you guys will be the experts, like you're trying to like handicap, obviously, who's winning each bracket in the playoffs and then meeting in the finals. And, that Durant is still getting taken, obviously very high, because, obviously there still is a high likelihood, of Phoenix representing the West. So, trying to do more research on that. I think that'll be fun to get into in the next couple of weeks. Yeah,
there could be some issues with him coming back, but the thing is, there's no one that's really strong in the West. You look at the East, and Boston's an established team. They played together for a while. The Bucks are definitely an established team, right? I mean, it's the same core that won the championship. Philadelphia has been together for a while now with Harden and Embiid getting together. It doesn't really feel that way on the West, and I know like Holden and his Denver friends are going to get mad that I'm leaving out the Nuggets, but I think it's fair to not necessarily believe in them until we've seen it. So you can point out flaws in all the top 4 teams there in the West, and if the Warriors don't get Wiggins back, they don't have a chance, in my opinion. So.
And now, Meg, this playoff best ball, I take it you want guys that are going to advance throughout the rounds more, so they get you more points, right?
Right. Yeah, like you ideally want to stack up 2 teams that are going to meet in the finals, and then have some ancillary pieces that are then going to help you advance. So in case the guys aren't like if you get, I think you have 10 slots, roster positions, and say you get 3 East players, 3 West players, and then you might want to get like a couple other players to just help you kind of push you through. So yeah, absolutely. The only thing I didn't understand, because obviously in football it's 1 game, move on, 1 game, move on. I didn't understand if you're getting more points if they are playing a 7-game series versus a 4-game series. That's the only thing that I wasn't quite understanding that I need to do a little more research on, but still interesting. I mean, all best ball formats I find very interesting.
And we are going to do a best ball show before the playoffs start.
I would love
and we'll
it.
have Meg on there, and she's going to help us get some winners there, Tyler. Anything more from last night, Tyler? I mean, we had a couple other ones that I wasn't too happy about. But what did we have? Did the Pacers beat the Raptors straight up?
Yep. We weren't involved in that game.
We didn't get involved in that game. We probably should have laid the 17 with the Bucks when they win by 30.
Yeah.
And Memphis didn't cover for us, man.
Yeah, Memphis just didn't want to pull away in that game. They just kind of let them hang around, and they picked up the win. Josh, first possession back on the floor, he gets a poster dunk. So Memphis might be that team. We just talked about all the teams in the West. They're being not a clear-cut team. It might be that team all along.
Yeah, well, I got issues with them too. Who do you like better? We'll start with you, Tyler. Who do you think has a better chance, the Nuggets or the Grizzlies?
The Grizzlies.
I think the Nuggets.
I think they could defend. I don't think the Nuggets can defend in the playoffs whatsoever.
Yeah, but I think if it comes down to it, I trust the Nuggets to get a half-court bucket with the game on the line more.
Have you watched them play like the last 8 games?
Yeah, they haven't been good. Meg, who do you think has a better chance of advancing, the Nuggets or the Grizzlies?
I have not really watched them play the last 8 games, but I would say the Nuggets.
Oh, I love that. All right.
But I have not watched them play recently.
Let's go back to your team, Tyler. They disappointed us last night, but to be fair, I don't want to downgrade the Knicks too much. I feel that Miami is just coming into their own as a team right now. There were some issues with the Knicks defense, but the way the game's called now, it's really tough to defend well when the game's going at that pace. So they played in Miami last night. Now they stay in Florida, but they're up in Orlando. I wonder if they went to Disney World last night after the game. Total's 229. The Knicks are laying 3.5. How are we approaching this game, Tyler?
Yeah, I think the Knicks bounce back here with a win. I thought they were going to win last night. Miami's 4 of their 5 starters put up double digits. It was just a bad game for the Knicks overall. I think they bounce back right here. Mitchell Robinson banged knees in that game, and ever since that moment, he limped around in that rest of that game. He's got a Q tag on him here. I think you see him sit. This Randall double and win at plus 205 is staring me right in the face at that point. He should be able to feast on the boards versus Wendell Carter and Banchero. He's going to get you double-digit points. He had an off shooting night last night after putting up 50. You know he's looking to bounce back here, so I love that double and win on him here. And also don't mind that if you wanted to go in on like a Brunson 25-plus points and win at plus 185. He gets all the other volume that Randall doesn't get. Guards have always killed this Orlando team. He could easily get to 25 here.
Let me ask you another question. We got a 4-game slate, so we have time to kind of bounce around. So I was listening to Nate Duncan's Dunked On, and they did their point guard rankings, and they had Brunson and Fox, in the same tier. Who do you think is better, Tyler, Jalen Brunson or De'Aaron Fox?
I think they had it right. They're kind of in the same. They're 2 different players, but they're kind of same talent level.
Same value.
Yeah. One guy could slow the game down for you and get a bucket. The other guy's going to play you at 100 miles an hour and still get the bucket.
Yeah. So, do you have a preference there, Fox or Jalen Brunson, Meg?
I don't really, but I mean, I'm on a show with you, Spread. I'll go Fox.
Oh, I love it. Well, Tyler's favorite team is the Knicks audience. Here, so, talk to me about this game though. The Knicks are laying 3.5. The total's 229. Talk to me if you're going to bet it, and then of course let's break down these DFS prices.
Yeah, I like the Knicks in this game too. I agree with Tyler on that one. I think you could go back to Brunson here. I made a mistake last time we had, I think, a shorter slate, and I said not many studs. There's just, again, a situation where there's not a ton of pay up options. I won't say studs, but not a ton of pay up options today. But so I think a lot of people might do a little more balanced builds. You certainly could go Randall or Brunson there. And I know Bobby does a great early breakdown on Twitter, and he really liked Cole Anthony for value. Cole Anthony is, I believe, 5.6K over on DraftKings. So that could be something if you're kind of looking to get a piece of the Orlando side. Anthony for 5.6.
Do you like the shorter slates, or do you like tomorrow's monster 10-game slates?
That's a great question. I actually was going to mention that I love short slates. I actually intentionally, even on large slates, play short slates. And that goes for every sport, but especially actually basketball. I really love short slates because you can get weird. You can do different things. I think you can kind of, zig when other people zag a little bit more. And I really like that about short slates.
So I seem to like bigger slates more. I get more excited for them. Okay. But I was looking at my results, and I do way better on short slates.
There you go.
And in fact, I'm actually getting pretty good at Showdown. I don't know if that's intentionally or unintentionally. But a lot of times I'm not home right at the 4 o'clock lock.
Right.
So then I just wait and I play either the 2-game night or a single-game Showdown. And I'm like, I'm doing way better on these than I am the full slates.
That's been
a blessing in disguise.
That's been the last couple years. I've noticed that for all sports that I tend to do better on the niche stuff, like the.
I was wondering if maybe it's because the optimizer doesn't matter as much.
That's a good question. I'd love to know. I feel personally that I feel like I just personally feel like I can almost give myself permission to do, I guess maybe get more creative, or, you can even just make slight pivots. Like, I know this is NFL related, but this is a super quick story. Like, do you remember the NFL slate where everybody played like Sam Ellinger from the Colts? And
yeah, it was like the first week and he was like 4K or
he was awful. And he was awful. And he was actually playing Washington. And so on a 4 p.m. short slate, I almost won it. I was like, I don't know, I had finished a couple points off the off first, but I literally pivoted to Taylor Heineke, another crappy quarterback, for the same similar cheap price. He outscored Ellinger by a ton, but I was still punting off a cheap quarterback that allowed me to play all the studs. So like, but what I'm trying to say is that you can apply this to any sport. You can do the same, like you could even do the same kind of roster build, but you could pick one guy that just is like a 1v1 pivot off of everybody else, what everybody else is kind of doing. So that's what I kind of like short slates, is just those kind of like little tweaks that you can do to kind of get different and get optimal. So.
All right, Maddie Ice is telling us to try some tennis.
Okay.
Of course, I do help.
I know nothing about it, but I'll give it a try.
And I throw up a core. The one thing about tennis, though, is it just feels like you're trying to hit like a 5 or a 16 parlay, because you have to pick the winners.
Right.
Whereas NBA, right, it's more going for usage. But it's definitely interesting, and I think that it's a lot more fun for the head-to-heads and the double-ups. On tennis, because that gives you the margin for error. To really take down, you're going to have to hit all 6 teams. All right, enough of that on the little diversion. Tyler, any more thoughts on the Knicks and Magic, or are we ready to move on?
No, I'm ready to move on. I think we touched everything in that game.
All right, the Cleveland Cavaliers are -3.5. They're in Brooklyn. They're taking on the Nets. This game was -4 last time, right? And we took the over in that game. The over was about 218. It's 219.5 right now. The over did hit, as the final score was 115-109. Cleveland won. Donovan Mitchell had like 31. Jared Allen had 14 rebounds. I don't remember any of the stats on the net side off the top of my head, but I know the Cavaliers won. They run it back. They're in Brooklyn. Cavaliers are in 4th place, and they're kind of, I don't want to say locked in 4th place, but there's a little ways to go for them to catch Philly, but they're at least 3 games ahead of the Knicks too. The Nets, on the other hand, are trying to take off that push from Miami. They're currently in 6th, but Miami has the same winning percentage, and they're right behind them. So they could very reasonably fall in the play-in if they don't win games like the one tonight where they're at home, but they're catching 3.5 at home. Tyler, the Cavaliers won on Tuesday when they played. Do you think the same thing will happen?
I think they win, but I'm going to go with the other side on the spread here. I think Brooklyn keeps it very close. The Cavs were at home in that first matchup. They play a lot.
No, it was in Brooklyn.
Okay, it was. I thought this was
the same as that game.
This was the switch swap where they go home and away.
No, it's not home and home.
Okay,
it was in Brooklyn. It was -4, and the total was 218. Now it's -3.5. The total is 219.5.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to side with Cleveland, but I think it's a little bit closer. I think they win. Brooklyn keeps it close. I'd go right back to the over spread. I think that you're going to get a ton of points here. These guards for Cleveland are going to shoot a ton of threes. We've seen Mitchell hit 5 in that game. I think we could see him hit right around that amount here again. Bridges and these guys for the Nets are going to also try and keep it close with their outside scoring. Cam Johnson, DFS, Dinwiddie. So, yeah, I'm probably going to lean Brooklyn on the side and give me the over here.
All right. So Tyler likes Brooklyn to get a little bit of revenge and going for the over again. What are your thoughts, Meg?
I like Cleveland here to win. So I definitely on Cleveland side here. As far as DFS, plays, you got the Jared Allen revenge game. So I like that. And he's priced very fairly at 6.3K. If you want to spend up, you of course have, you could go to a Donovan Mitchell, or you could, go down a little bit to a Garland. So I like those the most on the Cleveland side. I'm not sure on the Brooklyn side who my favorite pieces are, and that's why I kind of leaning more Cleveland here at this point of the day. But again, I could see a lot of balanced builds today, which obviously playing Allen fits right into.
All right, yeah, I took Jared Allen over 10.5 rebounds.
I like that
in this game. He had 14 in the last game, and he's gone over The last 3 games, he's gone over that number. And just the idea, right, that Claxton is probably the center for the new NBA, right? Because he can switch onto forwards. You can't just attack him in the pick and roll like you would like a Walker Kessler or bring him out like a Rudy Gobert, right? He's not vulnerable there. But against like a traditional center like Jared Allen, I do think that he's going to have some problems. So I like that Jared Allen prop. That's one of them that I went with. Tyler, what other props were you going for?
Yeah, you brought up Jared Allen. There's a 12-plus rebound and Cavs win at plus 215 on him. There's a 30-plus points on Mitchell and the Cavs win at plus 255. You're going to have to build this one on your own because FanDuel listed a Mitchell 6+ threes and they win. I think the 6 is just way too high. Could he hit 6 threes here? Yes. I think that number's a bit too high, but you're getting 10-1 on it. I would much rather just take the 5+ and put the money line together on it and bet that because he could easily hit 5 here. He's very streaky with his threes. He hit 5 last game. If he's hot, he's going to go out there and hit another 5. So don't mind doing that again as a same game parlay.
All right. And that I think, well, no, maybe the next one's more interesting, but it seems like we have 2 good games tonight and then 2 kind of bums. And this is one of the good games, but I'm sure that they did this on purpose because most people will be watching March Madness and why not? It's a great tournament and it's getting pretty exciting right now. Let's move on though. The Charlotte Hornets are plus 8.5. They're in New Orleans. They're taking on the Pelicans. It's open at 9. The Hornets took a little bit of money. The 2 total is 225.5. Tyler, talk to me about the total. I mean, the side and the spread here. And then I actually played a couple props in this one too. I haven't played any sides and totals yet. I'm going to wait to talk to you, but this is another one that there were a couple props that I did like. But what do you think on the side? The Pelicans laid 8.5 and this total of 225.5.
Yeah, if you had to pin me down on a side in this game, which I'm not looking to bet, it would probably just take the favorite in the Pelicans. They're at home. They're still fighting for the playoff spot to where the Hornets are just kind of hanging out at this point. But going to stay away from the side. Love the over here. I think you get a ton of points. And you talked about props in this one. I think we see a lot of 3-pointers on both sides. CJ to hit 2.5, Trey Murphy to go over 2.5, Kelly Oubre to go over 2.5. I think all of those are realistically to hit here. And then another guy like is Brandon Ingram on his points, 26.5. He's in a spot where he's pretty much got a nice, easy matchup. Who are they going to put on him? Gordon Hayward's probably too slow-footed to guard him. He goes right around him, gets any shot he wants. PJ Washington's pretty big. I don't think he's going to be able to stay in front of him. And at that point, you're trying to put little guards on him. He's in a mismatch spot. I think Brandon Ingram absolutely smashes this spot. Love that over 26.5 on his points. I don't mind doing his performance doubles either. If you wanted to smack together a 25+ and they win. If you think he gets to 30 and they win, there's one listed for plus 200. But I do think it's an Ingram game and he smashes this spot.
All right, Meg, I think this is kind of an ugly game, but, we're breaking down the whole card. What do you think here between the Pelicans take on the Hornets?
Yeah, I agree with Tyler that I like the Pelicans here and definitely going about it from a performance double. I think that's very interesting for DFS. Like you said, if you like the over, if you like points here, there's a lot of interesting plays here. I'm always a sucker for playing Joval, and he's been getting a really good run lately. If there's something I'm missing, please let me know because, he's been putting up some monster performances the last 3 games. So I think I might go back to him. I know a lot of other people go to the other center in this game as well. Nick Richards. So you could play both centers in this game. And then, like Brandon Ingram too. I know in Bobby's core on Twitter, he mentioned Oubre. So I think there's a lot of pieces in this game that you could look at that are both affordable and, have a good, points per dollar, definitely looking good points per dollar wise.
All right. The 2 props I went with were Rozier over and Kelly Oubre over.
Okay.
And here's my idea is just that if you notice, Tyler, like on the, we're not getting those huge edges that we did earlier in the year, right? It feels like these lines are tightening up as the season's continued. And we are, so, I'm looking for where could these numbers be wrong? And LaMelo Ball's usage was so heavy during the year. I feel that, because these guys, their season-long averages are lower, we're getting a discount there with both players. Oubre did have 28 points in the win over Indiana on Tuesday night. So he went over his 20.5, and then Rozier's sitting at 22.5. And we know that he likes to chuck as well. I do also project this game to go over. That's probably my favorite on the sides and totals of the whole day is for this game to go over. So those are the two props that I was looking at. Tyler, do you agree with me here that these Hornets could be underpriced? Because, I mean, you got to be crazy to be watching a Hornets game, or you have to be Matty Ice, right, and actually be a fan. Like, there's no one that's just pulling up League Pass and going, no, I don't want to watch the Mavericks and the Warriors. Like, let me pull up the Charlotte Hornets taking on the Pelicans.
Yeah, definitely love the over here. It's definitely one of those games where, I mean, it's just ugly. You're not watching it unless you're a Hornets fan.
Yeah, Hornets fan or a Pelicans fan, and we know there's not many of those in the world. But shout out to Matty Ice.
We talked about best ball a little bit earlier. I never played it yet, but just thinking about it and how Meg said it plays out, you want guys that push you through. Somebody might just ship this thing with a Pelican stack or a Laker stack, because as guys start to roll back from injury, it's like, oh, there goes that team just cruising through the West Conference.
Yeah. Especially the guys that you can get later value on, for sure.
Yeah. Like, imagine you pick up a Zion like last round spread and he shows up for the playoff run. 30-12 every game, just dominating teams.
I mean, that'd be much better than the alternative that you mentioned, the Lakers. Oh my God.
I just seen a stat on Twitter spread that'll make you happy.
What is it?
Free throws over the last 4 games. Austin Reeves, 54. Steph Curry, 7.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're hating on my guy. It's just terrible.
Tyler, what was that threes bet you said? You know, I'm a sucker for the threes bet. Didn't you say you liked a couple guys threes in this game?
Oh, I like Oubre to go over that 2.5. I like Murphy over his 2.5, and I don't mind McCollum over his 2.5 either. Our guy Johnny Nelson's in the chat. How about them Lakers, Fred?
I knew he was getting. I was waiting. I was like, "What's wrong?"
He was still celebrating the win, Spread. He was coming around. He's like, I got to go mess with my guy, Spread. Let him know about the Lakers.
He had to put incense next to a Scott Foster fat head. The Oklahoma City Thunder are +4. The total's 232. This is an interesting game, Tyler. I admit this is probably the best game on the slate, right? Cavaliers, Nets, or Thunder, Clippers. So this game was +7 the other night, right? And Paul George got hurt. So according to the line, he's worth 3 points. I would say that's probably about accurate. I don't think I would disagree there. The Thunder look good. They were 7-point underdogs. They won 101-100. SGA looked good there towards the end. The guy can get a bucket in the half court when it's needed. Jalen Williams had another big game. If Paulo wasn't so dominant to start the year, Jalen Williams, I think, would have a good argument for Rookie of the Year, but I think Paulo was just too much, and it was just too much too early.
Could you imagine Paulo as a third option on a team, though? And can you imagine him in Jalen Williams' role, where he has 2 guys in front of him that are the focus of the other team, and he just gets to kind of fall into all the free buckets? Paulo would average like 28.
You think so?
Yes. He's the main guy in Orlando. Like, when you go,
but that gives him more usage, right?
To a point, but it also, as a rookie, do you want to be the guy who's game planned for every game by the opposing team?
I think
like,
that's
if
a good question.
You're the cream of the crop, it's fine. Like, you're going to rise to the top and still put up points like which Banchero is. But you put him in a much softer position in OKC right now. Oh, my God, that dude's stats are out of the water.
Yeah. I mean, you could have a point there. I didn't think he did benefit from usage. Like, for example, look at Jabari Smith, where he barely gets the ball in Houston.
He's a different kind of player, too, though.
He is, though. He doesn't have the same creation.
He was never a creator that the other two are.
Yeah. So, all right. But regardless of because I don't think that Jalen Williams will get it. But obviously, he's played excellent. And I thought he was the difference in that game when the Thunder got the straight-up win. Now they run it back. You know, Clippers are -4 this time. How do we approach this one, Tyler?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go right back to OKC here. I mean, they've been great to us on the spread. SGA's in. I think he's just going to have his way with this matchup. They don't play any defense. The guards absolutely smashed the Clippers. His point prop at 31.5, it seems high, but back in LA where he started his career, I think he's going to come in and just try and smash his team again. So I could see him going over that 31.5. We talked about Jalen Williams. His prop set at 15.5. It's another one that could easily go over here. So love their 2 main guys. Don't mind taking maybe a Giddey double-double or even getting in on a Westbrook double-double and triple-double. I see guys in the chat talking about that one. We didn't get it for us when they were all there. He's going to have the extra usage now that it's just him and Kawhi as the main guys. He should be able to get us a triple-double for the end of the regular season. So don't mind putting it on that. But I'm going to be on the Thunder to pick up this win outright. You can give the 4 points to somebody else. Give me the money line.
I was just going to ask you if you were going to do the Westbrook triple double with, I'm, looking at it this morning, trying to think where all the usage, George's usage will go. And, hopefully, obviously Westbrook picks up a little bit, maybe some more rebounds, more assists with him off the court. And so I was just going to ask you, are you going triple double Westbrook tonight?
Yeah. And then with this being a shorter slate, Megan, there being like little to no value on it.
Right.
We know Ty Lue can get weird. How do you feel about some of these, like the Eric Gordons and the cheaper guys on the Clippers that maybe get some run here?
Yeah, I think we need to see what the starting lineup is going to be. But yeah, I think obviously Leonard is the stud here. And I love Westbrook too for what we just talked about. But yeah, I think you could, look at Mann, Gordon. I think we need to see the starting lineup, but I definitely think there could be some Clippers value depending on what the starting lineup is. Because like you said, the slate we don't have a ton of spend up options, but we do probably want to get to like, obviously Leonard, and there's some other spend up options we like, and there isn't a ton of value. So we might be able to find it on the Clippers side for sure.
Tyler, do you think the Clippers are dead if PG doesn't come back for the playoffs?
I think maybe they make a run like they did that year when Kawhi was out, where they get to the conference finals, but I don't think they make it much farther than that.
And actually, if they made it that far, he would be back by then. So, yeah, this should be a fun game tonight. I don't know what to do with it. I kind of feel like the Clippers bounce back even without PG. The numbers have it about right, though. So, there you have it. There's our 4-game slate. A brief little preview there, but we are not done. It is time for the best bets. We'll start with you, Tyler. What's your best bet for today's side total prop?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lean towards that this Q tag on Mitchell Robinson becomes an out tag. Give me that Randall double-double and win over the Magic plus 205. When Robinson's out, he feasts on the boards. He's due for a double-double, and it's the perfect spot to do it. Coming off a loss, they roll into Orlando and get a big win. So plus 205, I'll be on that performance double.
All right, Meg, best bet for today's side total or prop?
I got another plus 205 performance double. It's we talked about it earlier. Little revenge narrative. Jarrett Allen, 12 plus rebounds, Cleveland to win, plus 205.
All right, I like that. I'll go simple. I'll just go the over on the Hornets and the Pelicans. I think it should be a high-paced game. It should be a lot of fun there, and I could see a lot of player props going over in that game as well. So I think if you are trying to look for some player props tonight, that's a good game to be targeting. It should be high pace. Total's only 225.5. I could definitely see that one going over. So there you have it. 4-game slate. Obviously, we're in the shadow of the Sweet 16 and March Madness tonight, but we're still here every Monday through Friday breaking it down. RunPureSports.com. Meg, it's your time. Words of wisdom before we get out of here.
Well, before she gets into words of wisdom, do you do any college basketball, Meg?
No, not much. I mean, the times I do, I obviously am just looking at Stevie and Kurt's playbook.
I was going to ask you what your thoughts were on tonight, if you can give us maybe who you think wins.
Oh, I'm still deciding, because I was watching the games intently in Vegas. Drinks were in hand too. So, but yeah, I'm still deciding about tonight. I watched part of Stevie's show. I wanted to watch the rest of it. So I don't have a winner yet. I'll have to give it to you later. But I always like trying to take shots on underdogs. Can I tell my quick bad beats underdog story, which will lead into my words of wisdom?
Yeah, but let's get Tyler's pick here real quick. Who's
sure,
your picks
go for
tonight?
it. Yeah.
And then we'll let you finish it off. Who's your picks for tonight, Tyler?
Give me UConn. We'll ride with that one.
Okay.
Give me the Zags because I don't like UCLA.
How can you not like UCLA?
I mean, I'm just not a big fan of them. The Tennessee FAU game, refer to our guy Stevie because I don't know anything about either of those teams.
I know for sure. Huh?
And same thing with the K-State, Michigan State. Refer to our guy Stevie and JJ on that game because I'm not touching that one.
All right. Well, if you're like me, right, and you just want to watch the games and have some action, but you don't know anything about college basketball, that's the great thing about being a member of RunForSports.com. You just go on, you jump on there. see what the picks are, and you can let the experts guide you. And that way you can still have some fun action and some fun sweat, but you're not just throwing a dart. You're actually making an advantage wager, given to you by guys who have been following this all year round, right? Stevie and JJ, they're not just diving in around February, right? They've been handicapping since the early tip. I mean, the amount of work that Stevie does, I mean, it was so impressive watching him at the party. I said, Stevie, we are on vacation here as he's just grinding all day. But, I'm sure all the members appreciate that as he continued to give winners. So, Meg, what happened here? Bad beat? What happened?
I had a really bad beat at the sportsbook. I mean, obviously, at home, I can now, bet on my app and everything. So, but when I'm in Vegas, I love the rush of like going up to the window, doing the whole sportsbook, making my bet. Cause you could do it on your phone there, but on MGM or Caesars, but I'm like, no, I'm doing the whole window thing. I love it. I like make friends with the window guys. It's just fun. But I forget, I guess it was Saturday morning, a little hurting from the night before. But I get on Run Pure at breakfast. I have a mimosa, a coffee, make my picks. And I said, I'm going to do.
You had mimosa and coffee at the same time. I know I'm not supposed to interrupt Tyler, but
not the same, but yes.
That sounds not good.
No, it's very good. The next day in Vegas, I just you hydrate water, coffee, mimosa. And that's
in that order, right?
Yes, okay, in that order. Exactly. But there's a little rotation, but yes, water, coffee, mimosa. So I'm having water, coffee, mimosa, trying to get ready to make my bets. And I get on Run Pure. I'm like, you know what? I like these two underdogs. I'm going Arkansas, Tennessee, and I'm parlaying them together. Little fun underdogs to root for today. So I get up to the window, and I'm usually good about circling it and giving the numbers. I didn't do that. I was just still hurting. Maybe the mimosa already kicked in, but I know I said, let me parlay Tennessee, Arkansas. And so Tennessee, Arkansas wins. I go up to the window. I had a Duke ticket. The lady put it in wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could not believe this happened. So, the nice man referred me to, the manager, and he comes over and is like, sorry, like, once you leave, it's your responsibility. This is like cash. You have to assume it's your cash to watch and make sure you don't lose it. You need to make sure that your ticket's right. So it was my fault. And a big lesson learned, a bad beat. And they gave me listen, this was no high stakes bet. So they gave me enough free drink tickets that basically probably would have covered my winnings. So the story ended fine. It's all good. But my words of wisdom for the day, people, are, if it's something important to you in life, double check, triple check. That's what I got for you.